Dr. Callum Voss wasn't new to corpses. He had worked the graveyard shift at Bellridge County Morgue for 5 years. Cold metal, silence, toe tags, routine. The dead, at least, didn't argue. But tonight? Something felt wrong. The air was sharp, almost electric, the kind of static you feel before lightning strikes. At 12:41 a.m., a delivery van rumbled into the back entrance. The driver looked shaken, pale, barely said a word. He handed Voss the manifest. Tag 0497A, Jane Doe, female. Approximate time of death? 3 hours ago. Cause? Undetermined. Voss wheeled the gurney in under flickering lights. She looked too intact. No rigor mortis, skin cool but soft, no sign of trauma, almost like she was pretending. He logged the details and opened the cold chamber. Unit 6. The drawer groaned as it slid open. As he slid the body in, the lights blinked. Once, twice, then buzzed loudly. That's when he heard it. A breath. Short, shaky, barely audible. He froze, hand still on the drawer handle. "Nope," he whispered to himself. "Not tonight." He slowly stepped back and watched the drawer shut itself, clicking closed. He stood frozen, staring. Was it just the vents? Was his mind playing tricks? But deep down he already knew. That drawer wasn't empty. Would you have stayed another minute in that morgue? Back at his workstation, Voss pulled up the morgue database and typed in the toe tag ID, 0497A. The screen flickered. Search result. Autopsy complete. Subject archived. His brow furrowed. That couldn't be right. He clicked through the record. 5 months ago, Jane Doe, age 27. No next of kin. Autopsy performed by him. He scrolled to the photo ID. Same woman. Same tattoo near the ankle. Same tag number. The record said she'd been buried in Greenwood Cemetery. He grabbed the landline and called County Dispatch. "No exhumation request on record," the officer said. "Why? What's going on?" Voss didn't answer. He stared at the woman's photo on the screen. She looked peaceful, eyes closed. Then the screen glitched. Just for a second, and in that flash her eyes were open, not slightly, fully, staring directly into the lens. When the screen reset, her eyes were closed again. He backed away from the desk. Was it a hallucination, a software bug, or something reaching through the data? The lights above flickered again, and from the hallway, a soft click. The freezer unit door, opening by itself. If you saw your own signature on a dead body's file, one you didn't remember, would you trust the system or your memory?
Voss needed clarity. Maybe sleep. Maybe something stronger. Instead, he poured stale coffee into a cracked mug and sat back in the observation room. The hallway monitors were still recording. He scrubbed through the footage. Static, then a sudden freeze. Frame 2:14 a.m. A woman. Long hair. Pale. Standing motionless in front of Unit 6. The next frame? Empty hallway. He leaned closer, blinking. Rewound. Stillness. Then static again. He switched to the live feed. Nothing. Just then, a deep hum crawled through the air vents. Low and rhythmic. Like distant breathing. Except it wasn't distant. It was right above him. He stood. Walked into the cold chamber. The air was heavier here. The sound clearer, like something breathing through metal lungs. He approached Unit 6. The drawer was closed now. But a faint smear, no, a fingerprint, marked the steel handle. He reached for it slowly. Inside, empty. Except for the toe tag. It lay torn at the string, curling slightly at the edges. Before he could react, the massive morgue door behind him slammed shut. A metallic clang that echoed like a gunshot. He turned sharply. The drawer was closed again. But this time, the tag wasn't inside. It dangled from the outside, fluttering slightly, as if someone had just touched it. Have you ever seen something vanish on camera, then reappear without a trace in real life?
Back in his office, Voss grabbed his handheld recorder and hit play. He needed to review what he'd logged earlier. Maybe he missed something. The first few entries were standard, his voice calm, measured. Then came a new voice. It cut through the static, soft, strained, whispering, "He put me in the wrong one!" Voss paused, rewound, played it again. Same breathy tone, same haunting phrase. "He put me in the wrong one!" He hadn't recorded that. He checked the waveform on his computer. The audio signature was completely different. It wasn't altered. It wasn't human error. It was someone else. He clicked delete. A pop-up blinked onto the screen. Cannot delete. File protected. Then the file name changed on its own. It now read, still here. He stared, mouth dry, hand frozen over the mouse. Suddenly, all 6 of the office speakers crackled, and then together, they played the voice again, louder, surrounding him. "He put me in the wrong one!" Over and over. He reached for his phone. It was off. The battery wasn't dead. It had been manually powered down. He hadn't touched it. Then the lights dimmed to a low, pulsing red, each pulse in sync with the voice. "He put me in the wrong one!" If your recorder captured something you never said, something no one should have said, would you keep listening? The panic in Voss's chest had turned to something colder. Focus. He remembered the encrypted archives left behind by Dr. Raymond Blair, the previous chief pathologist who died mysteriously last year. Everyone whispered about what he kept locked in his private folders. Tonight, Voss needed answers. He hacked into Blair's archive using an old passphrase the man drunkenly mumbled once. Cicada Green. The files opened. One folder stood out. Red X. Inside were flagged autopsies never logged into the county system. Burials that bypassed normal channels. Bodies mislabeled. Disappearances misfiled. He clicked on the one marked 0497-A. There she was. Name, Elara Dean. Cause of death, hypothermia. But the real report, hidden in layered metadata, told another story. Blunt force trauma, defensive wounds, broken ribs, signs of strangulation. She was murdered, and someone, maybe Blair himself, covered it up. Voss sat back, shaking. He read Blair's final note in the file. She knows she won't stay buried. Suddenly the lights flickered again, and this time Voss wasn't afraid. He clicked record on his voice memo. "This is Callum Voss, Bellridge Morgue. Subject Elara Dean, formerly Jane Doe, 0497-A. Victim of concealed homicide. Case was never closed. I'm reopening it, no matter the risk." His hand trembled, but his voice did not. When truth knocks, no matter how cold or long buried, do you answer? 4:46 a.m. The entire power grid in the morgue surged. Emergency lights snapped on, dim red pulses echoing across the cold walls. A silent alarm triggered the biometric security team. Within minutes, 2 officers stormed into the building. They found no one. No Dr. Voss, no signs of a break-in. Only Unit 6, slightly open. Inside lay a single body. Male, late 30s. Tag, 0503A. Name, Dr. Callum Voss. Time of death, 4:46 a.m. Except he was still warm, his chest faintly rising, barely alive. Security footage later revealed the moment. Voss, stepping into the drawer himself, eyes distant but determined. Before he disappeared from frame, he whispered one word to the lens. Justice. The drawer closed behind him on its own. No further footage. The morgue logs show that all files relating to 0497A were wiped 2 hours later. Only one backup remains, encrypted under Voss's name. Unit 6 has remained sealed ever since. They say if you check the security feed during a thunderstorm, you'll catch a glitch in the system, a single frozen frame. It shows 2 people, Elara Dean and Dr. Callum Voss, both staring into the lens, still, silent, together, but never truly gone. If you believe the dead sometimes return, not to haunt but to testify, then don't keep their story buried. Subscribe to Unseen Evidence for more chilling truths and real questions that don't stay silent for long. And if you're still listening in the dark, you might not be alone.